Liquid gold rays of morning light seep across the canyon floor. Silhouetted forms stand silent, their facades seemingly shaped by the sure and tireless hands of a master sculptor. Sublime works, forged by the forces of nature, a glorious gift whose creation demanded eons of toil. Finely chiseled frames for evergreen forests, curious wildlife, delicate flowers, and rugged adventure. A breathtaking gallery of sculpted stone, Bryce Canyon National Park. Zion and Bryce Canyon National Parks are located in the southwest corner of Utah. Bryce Canyon National Park covers 56 square miles. Its altitude ranges from 6,600 to 9,100 feet. Bryce is an intriguing blend of diverse geological features. There is the Ponsagunt Plateau, blanketed with pinyon and juniper, ponderosa, and bristlecone pine. Below the rim of the plateau lie the Badlands of southern Utah. Along the eastern rim of the plateau, the Pink Cliffs showcase the gallery of Bryce's magnificent rock sculptures known as hoodoos. Cathedrals with finely carved windows and ornate minarets. Surreal castles with arches and parapets. Their evocative shapes conjure up mythical characters and exotic creatures. The colors fused into the rock are derived from the oxidation of certain minerals. Iron and manganese oxides create the most vibrant hues in the park's lovely palette. Iron produces the reds and the yellows, and manganese the purples and the blues that grace the rocks of Bryce. The main showcase in the park, the vast Bryce Amphitheater, contains numerous small canyons, each cut by a trickle, stream, or torrent of water draining from the Pink Cliffs. Snowmelt and runoff from summer thunderstorms create streams that chisel their way into the soft rock of the plateau. This process steepens the cliffs and broadens the amphitheaters. The various streams join at the base of the plateau, adding to the waters of the Paria River. It is estimated that erosion carves away 1 foot of the rim every 50 to 65 years. There is only one entrance to Bryce, located in the northern part of the park. The 18-mile scenic drive along the heavily forested plateau includes a series of overlooks with a variety of breathtaking vistas. Many visitors think that Sunrise Point provides one of the best views of the geologic wonder of Bryce Amphitheater, the park's most impressive gallery. Sunrise Point offers a spectacular panorama of the Badlands of Bryce, where swift erosion has left the surfaces with steep cliffs and sharp slopes. Interspersed among the spires and rock statues are ponderosa pine and Douglas fir. The towering ponderosa pine are among the tallest trees in the park, often exceeding 100 feet. On display are some of the park's splendid wildflowers, such as the skyrocket gilia, rabbit brush, and paintbrush. While the scenic overlooks provide wonderful perspectives on the marvels of Bryce, another way to appreciate the stone sculpture gallery is to hike or ride along the more than 50 miles of trails that wind through the park. Trail guide John Henry Meekum is proud to be a cowboy and helps keep the spirit of the Old West alive on these Badland trails.
You get a lot of people that's never seen a cowboy, and when they see one, they ooh and ah and want to take you a picture and talk to you. And people that comes from the city or foreign countries has never seen cowboys much, so they eat that up.
The Queen's Garden Trail, one of the most colorful in Bryce Canyon, offers graphic evidence of the constant state of change in the park. Upper rock layers erode onto the rocks below, covering them with a thin layer of soil that alters both their color and texture.
Getting down in the canyon is the only really way to see it. I mean, you can go to the viewpoints on top, but you're looking at the tops of the rocks. You're not down in looking at the rocks from the sides and looking back up at it. So to see it good, you need to get right down in the canyon.
Although Bryce is too cold for most reptiles, the short-horned lizard is sometimes seen along the trail. The lizard's camouflaging ability enables it to change its color and blend into the environment.
I've got several favorite formations. I like the Wall of Windows, Chessman, and the Silent City, and probably the Naked Lady, because you get good response out of people. It's a little more humorous, and they seem to enjoy them when you tell them, so it kind of makes them special, I guess. Sometimes we tell a viewpoint, and people say, well, I don't know whether it looks like that or not, but then they come up with a new name for it, and then sometimes they'll point out, well, this rock looks like this, you ought to call it this, tell your people this, and so they feel like they're naming part of it, probably part of the canyon themselves.
At the bottom of the Queen's Garden Trail stands a formation called Queen Victoria, appropriately posed on her regal pedestal. The trail leads back to the rim, where vegetation increases noticeably. The Utah juniper has thick sap and waxy branches that conserve water. Its heavy bark protects it from both the heat and the cold. When its needles fall to the ground, they kill vegetation that might otherwise compete with the tree for water. The juniper's bitter-tasting needles and strong odor put off browsing animals and potentially destructive insects. Their shallow roots trap summer rain runoff, helping to lessen erosion. Utah prairie dogs are native to Bryce Canyon. A member of the rodent family, the prairie dog is named for its distinctive bark. Because of the animal's voracious appetite for alfalfa and grass intended for livestock, local ranchers and farmers aggressively hunted the prairie dog for years. By the early 1950s, prairie dogs had practically been eliminated from the Bryce Canyon area. Then it was discovered that the prairie dog communities formed the primary diet for a number of predators, including certain snakes and the burrowing owl. Without the prairie dog, the existence of these predators was threatened. In 1974, the Utah prairie dog was reintroduced into the park. Colonies have thrived, and prairie dogs once again rove the park in large numbers. The mule deer is one of the most commonly seen deer in the wilderness areas of the American West. How did it get its name? From its long, mule-sized ears. The mule deer's main defense against predators is its agility and speed, even after eating a large meal. Its four-chambered stomach enables it to load up on leaves and shrubs. If threatened, it can run to a hiding place where it can chew its cud and digest its food in peace. Mule deer are year-round residents, except when deep winter snows drive them outside the park in search of food. Bryce's distant boundaries and beyond stretch like a canvas backdrop for the park's most inspiring points and promontories. Inspiration Point, at more than 8,100 feet, provides unparalleled views of the sunset over Bryce Amphitheater. The walls are favorite nesting places for large ravens, the largest member of the crow family. The raven is noted for its intelligence, playfulness, and indiscriminate appetite. Other airborne predators in the park include the golden eagle and the Cooper's hawk. Among the park's collection of astonishing forms, Silent City has been called the most breathtaking maze of erosional forms on the planet. Silent City bears some resemblance to a modern skyline, with rows of deserted skyscrapers, towers, and spires. Some of these walls are more than 600 feet long and 200 feet high. The provocative shapes of Silent City raise questions as to how this landscape was formed. Maggie McGee, an interpretive ranger, provides some geologic insights.
This area, the Pink Cliffs of Bryce Canyon, are also known as the Clarion Formation, and they formed about 60 million years ago in a freshwater lake, river, and stream system. And that river, stream, and lake system carried a variety of different deposits, sediments, different sizes. We had sand, gravel, silt, clay, and mud, all being washed in here and laid down in those beautiful layers that you see there. And they were being cemented together by calcium carbonate, a natural mineral cement, also known as limestone. And the limestone was also being mixed in with the sediments in varying amounts, and the result here is what we call the Clarion Formation. Different layers of different hardnesses or different abilities to withstand erosion. Well, eventually the water system that laid down the Clarion dried up and disappeared. Beginning about 10 to 15 million years ago, the whole area known as the Colorado Plateau began to slowly uplift. What that uplifting did was to begin to create a great deal of stress and strain on the western half of the Colorado Plateau, which began to be pulled apart into a series of separate high plateaus. And of course, the Ponsigan Plateau, from which Bryce Canyon is formed, is one of those high plateaus. What that uplifting separation into high plateaus did was to begin to allow for the forces of erosion to take place. Water in the form of rain and snow melt begins to cut down the eastern edge of the plateau, forming those gullies and ridges, and eventually the walls, and sooner or later, the separate hoodoos, those weird shapes that we see out there, the spires and pinnacles. We only have 15 inches of precipitation here a year. That's not very much, and that includes our snowfall. But we have between 200 and 250 freeze-thaw cycles every year. And that means that at night the temperature dips below freezing. During the day, it rises up above freezing, and water getting down into those cracks in the rock at night begins to freeze, and it freezes from the top down. And when it freezes, of course, it expands, and that literally breaks off huge chunks of rock.
In terms of geologic time, the hoodoo formations are extremely fragile and short-lived. The only constant is ongoing rapid change. An old Paiute legend offers a mythic perspective on the origin of the hoodoo formations.
Before there were any Indians, the legend people, Tuwenaungwa, lived in that place. They were of many kinds, birds, animals, lizards, and such things, but they looked like people. They were not people. They had the power to make themselves look that way. For some reason, the legend people in that place were bad. Because they were bad, Sinawapa, Coyote, turned them all into rocks, some standing in rows, some sitting down, some holding on to others.
The hoodoos of Bryce Canyon continue to engage the imagination and inspire leaps of fantasy as visitors attempt to interpret these provocative rock sculptures.
The formation down there looks like a bunch of castles and like a whole Middle Ages city.
Those hoodoos down there look like a group of little old gray-haired ladies like me sitting around with their crocheting.
It looks like a person with a top hat. Those two hoodoos over there look like two Egyptians.
Well, that looks like castles, rock castles, to me.
Oh, like little people in there, look.
Hoodoos to me look like we're all Lilliputians, and Gulliver was out here making sandcastles for us.
The hoodoos to me look like my children's room before they put away their toys.
It is likely that the Mormon scouts who reached the plateau around the middle of the 19th century saw somewhat different hoodoo formations than we do today. In 1872, a group of explorers led by the renowned Major John Wesley Powell, the famed explorer of the Grand Canyon, began to survey Bryce Canyon. Other scientific expeditions to further survey and map the area soon followed. In 1875, Ebenezer and Mary Bryce were among the early Mormon settlers who attempted to farm the Paria Valley and graze cattle in the main amphitheater of the present-day park. They built roads to haul timbers, and they dug irrigation ditches. But after 5 years, Ebenezer and Mary moved on to Arizona due to Mary's poor health. According to legend, Ebenezer Bryce once called this labyrinth of rocks a hell of a place to lose a cow. Early in the 1900s, glowing reports of Bryce's extraordinary features began to reach the general public. Roads were built for automobile traffic, and the Union Pacific Railroad developed a rail and motor coach tourist business. With its growing popularity, in 1923, Bryce gained the status of a national monument. and the following year, Congress authorized the creation of a national park. But it was not until 1928, after the acquisition of privately owned lands, that the area officially became a park. About half of the hiking trails start on the rim and descend precipitously. The rugged terrain of the Badlands can offer a challenge. Southwest of the Queen's Garden Trail and below Sunset Point is the Navajo Loop Trail, which drops 520 feet in less than a mile. After arriving on the floor of Bryce Amphitheater, the hiker can explore this gallery of natural statuary from an entirely different perspective. The canyon named Wall Street is extraordinarily narrow and deep. Its sides rise more than 200 feet above the trail. Douglas firs that have managed to take root stretch for the sun. As the elevation of the trail increases, intriguing rock formations come into view. Thor's hammer seems to perch precariously on top of its narrow base. The Sentinel stands as a testament to the fragile nature of these hoodoo monuments. In the summer of 1986, powerful erosive forces sheared off 2/3 of the left-hand portion of this tall column. To the south of Bryce Amphitheater, the elevation of the plateau increases nearly 1,000 feet. It is the dampest and coldest area of Bryce and supports the park's most beautiful forests. The leaves of the silver-barked aspen trees, changing dramatically with the seasons from summer green to autumn gold, bring rich color to the park. Natural Bridge is an impressive formation created by erosion that attacked both sides of the rock and eventually ate through, creating a natural arch. Not far from Rainbow Point and Yovimpa Point, the last overlooks in the park are near an area where bristlecone pine thrive. These remarkable trees grow in isolation in the more barren, higher altitudes where they are exposed to the elements. The trees are extremely hardy and manage to survive in areas where other species would perish. The bristlecone pine is one of the oldest living organisms known to man. The oldest pine in Bryce is about 1,700 years old, but it is a mere youngster compared to the 5,000-year-old specimen in eastern Nevada. Winter is a time of unequaled beauty in Bryce Canyon. The crisp, frigid air provides superb visibility, and a blanket of fresh snow creates a frosted layer cake effect. Winter seems to bring a profoundly peaceful mood to the park. After exploring Bryce for the U.S. Geological Survey, an awed Captain Clarence E. Dutton chose these words in his 1882 report to describe what he had seen.
The glory of all this rock is seen in the pink cliffs. The resemblances to strict architectural forms are often startling. The upper tier of the vast amphitheater is one mighty colonnade. Standing obelisks, prostrate columns, niches, buttresses, repetitions of symmetrical forms, all bring vividly before the mind suggestions of the work of giant hands.
Monuments to the eternal sweep of time, shaped by the hands of a master sculptor. Treasures that fire the imagination and induce the spirit to soar. Bryce Canyon National Park.
International Video Network brings you the greatest adventures in video entertainment. Award-winning documentaries from Reader's Digest, exploring the masterworks of man and nature. Travel planning videos from Photours, revealing looks at the people, places, and cultures of the world. Rand McNally Video Expeditions, taking you to some of the most remote and dangerous places on Earth. Rand McNally Video Travelers, whirlwind tours you can enjoy from the comfort of your living room. Super Cities, celebrating the best-loved cities of the world. And Video Visits, whisking you away to exotic, romantic, and popular destinations. International Video Network, great adventures in video. See your local video retailer or call International Video Network at 1-800-669-4486, extension 850 for your free catalog, featuring more than 250 travel, documentary, and special interest videos.